I'm a little bit congested, but we are gonna film videos today. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Now for today's video, I thought I would do something a little bit more interesting. I thought I would do a get ready with me as I talk about some of the romances that I have read in the past few weeks. Now obviously this is an idea that I created myself. This is a video that has been done by many booktubers, but I've seen Rachel from Rachel Read and Sings do this a lot, and I love watching her videos because I love watching people get ready and to look at like what kind of makeup they're using, because ultimately I really do like makeup, even though sometimes I dread putting it on because it takes so long to take it fully off. Now for this video, I also wanted to talk about some of the romances that I read recently, and more specifically historical romances. So these historical romances were specifically published in the 1970s and 80s, so they're a lot older, and basically I got inspired to read them because I went downstairs to my basement to go look for some things. And if you guys don't know, I actually have bookshelves in my basement now that hold a lot of the books that I've already read before that I'm just moving from my room to the basement because my room is packed, or they're just books that I bought on eBay from a long time ago and I completely forgot I bought them. And they're usually just really old vintage books that I've never heard anybody talk about, and I'm sure they were probably really popular back in the day. Like these books don't even have over 1,000 ratings on Goodreads because back then Goodreads wasn't a thing. So I wanted to read them and I wanted to see if these books still hold up to the test of time. So my room is a complete mess right now, but we're still gonna do this and we're still gonna put on some makeup so that we can get started. So for my makeup look, I kind of just want to go very natural because I don't like taking off too much makeup after I film my videos. I find that, you know, like, I don't think you guys can tell if I have a full face of makeup or not, so I just try to go as light as possible and just to get something on my face so that I can emphasize some of my features. So I am just gonna go ahead and do my eyebrows with the Body Shop eyeshadow palette that I got back when I was in university. I have still been using it for over probably 10 years now, and I've only just been using like this dark brown shade for my eyebrows, and I've just started hitting the pan, so it's going strong. I know that like eyeshadow expires over time, but I'm sure we all understand that in this economy we can't always replenish our eyeshadows. So the first book that I want to talk about is this one from Linda Cajio, and this one's called Colorado Gold. And now this one is an interesting book. This one is kind of like our heroine has done a life of crime because she grew up in circumstances that she had to depend on herself and she needed to make money quick because she actually has a sick sister that she needs to pay medical bills for. So what she does is that she goes from town to town and she pretends to be like a long lost heiress, a long lost duchess, a long lost queen. Like she just pretends to be like these noble family members. Everybody wants to impress her, so everybody gives her lavish gifts and food and houses her and gives her money, which she really needs. And she's basically like running town to town committing fraud. And then our hero is actually a sheriff and he ends up busting her. So they both go on this adventure through like the mountains trying to look for this treasure that has everybody like been talking about. It's kind of like a legendary treasure. Nobody knows if it's true or not, but they both know that if they are able to piece it together and are able to find this piece of treasure, it would basically change their lives forever. So this one was interesting because I've never read a book back in the 1980s where our heroine was actually like kind of like a villain, but not really. Definitely not someone that has people stepping all over her like she's a floor mat. So I really enjoyed it. So this one, I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. I think like it's just a me thing where I don't really like too much focusing on the adventure. I like focusing more on the romance, but don't get me wrong, I felt that these two characters had such a great like bond because it was like an enemies to lovers romance, and he is just so strict and so he follows the rules so well, and I just liked watching this dynamic, but overall it kind of lost my attention towards the end where we were kind of going through looking for that treasure and looking for that gold. So that's why I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. So the next thing that I'm going to put on is actually blush. So this is the Tarte blush palette with 6 different shades, and I bought it because it's so pretty and I really wanted to try new blush colors, and I just thought that this was something that I can use for a very long time since it has 6 different shades. So today's look, I think I'm going to go for a more natural look. So I'm going to go for a peachy color, and then I'm just going to like put it on like the tops of my cheeks like this so that it can show up on camera and that it doesn't look like I'm dead. By the way, I already put on concealer like off camera so that I don't scare you guys with the bags underneath my eyes. And then sometimes I like just to take my hand and just kind of like rub away some of the blush because I don't want people to think that like I'm drunk. I just want people to think that I have like a healthy glow, or maybe she's like a little bit cold. So the next book that I read was this one, and this one's called Castaway Heart by Colleen Campbell. And now when I saw this cover of this book, I honestly didn't even know if this was a historical romance or not because she is like literally wearing a bikini. So I thought it was kind of like modern day contemporary romance when I first picked it up, but it's not. It's actually a historical too as well. It's set in like the maybe like the 50s, 40s. Nope, I lied. It's like 1690. So like in the 1700s basically. So what happens is that our heroine is like a little girl. She's traveling with her family on the ship, and then a shipwreck happens, and then she loses everybody that she holds dear to her heart, and she lands on a deserted island with one of the captains, I believe. But then unfortunately that captain kind of like died earlier on in like the years that they were on that island. So she has just been living by herself on this island and taking care of herself and surviving off of like fishing and like the food found on the island and things like that. So she doesn't really remember what it's like to be in a civilized society. That is until our hero, who is like the captain of the ship, kind of like just like coasts by the island, and he looks through his binoculars and he sees this like beautiful goddess just frolicking on the island, and he immediately directs his attention to go to this island to go in search for this mysterious goddess. And that's where he finds our heroine, and he knows like deep in his heart that he cannot let her stay on the island and needs to take her back to, I think, America. I forget if it's like America or England. I think it's America. And he takes her back to America, and she is restless there because all she's known is freedom on the island, running around, going for swims, just being one with nature and being under the sun. But she is trapped in his aunt's house and being like taught how to like properly care herself, how to behave like a lady and have etiquette. And so she is often very upset a lot of the times, and he thinks that she's being like a big baby and complaining about all this stuff. So they have a kind of like a hot cold relationship because he finds her really attractive, but he also knows that her mind is kind of like a child because she hasn't fully matured and grown into the woman that she is because she has been so stunted by living on this island for so long by herself. So he tries to keep his distance away from her, but it's not until other men see her for who she is and like falls in love with her innocence and falls in love with her beauty and falls in love with her personality and things like that. So he gets like extremely jealous, and I loved watching those parts where he was trying to like figure out like how to be a gentleman, how to be like a proper man, and how to treat her like a lady that she is. And it was like so good. It was an enemies to lovers romance, and it felt so fun just like watching her transform into just like a really strong independent woman without her like just crying all the time, because like in the beginning she was just like, she kept crying because she was so scared. So it was really nice seeing her like stand her ground and like talk back to our hero. So I enjoyed this one. I think I gave this one like a 3.5 out of 5 stars, mostly because I think like towards the end there was just some things that I didn't agree with that happened, and I wished that you know, he was a little bit nicer with her at some points, because I felt like he was kind of like really mean a lot of the times, and it wasn't even like the cute mean. So I still really enjoyed it. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to use this new eyeshadow palette that I bought, and I bought this for like maybe like 50 something dollars during the Sephora sale, only to see that it's 50% off or close to 50% off during the Black Friday sale. But this is the Too Faced Born This Way, the Natural Nudes palette, and it looks like this, and basically it's just all nude colors. And I want to like start wearing more nudes again, because I'm more in like my later 20s and I want to look more appropriate for my age and things like that. So I'm just gonna stick to some neutral colors. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore, but basically I want to look workplace appropriate, and I can't be wearing like really heavy dark shadows or really bright colors in the office. I just have to kind of stick to a neutral color and look more natural sometimes. But then sometimes, like when I'm on Zoom and I see myself, I'm like, damn, I should have like emphasized my eyes a little bit more, because I feel like I looked very like bare and naked in some Zoom calls with my colleagues. So then I don't really like using my finger to smudge out my eyeshadow, but sometimes like the brushes that I have don't really do a great job with like spreading it out. So we got to use what God gave us, which is our fingers. And then so we kind of have a color on our lids. And then I'm going to switch my brush, and then I think I'm going to go for more definition on the corner of my eyes. So I'm just going to take like a darker color. You can't even tell the darker color, but I'm going to take this darker color right here, and then I'm going to go into a crease. It's not a makeup channel. I'm literally just doing a get ready with me. And you'll see this makeup look in my other videos that I'm going to post after this video, because I film a lot of videos all at once. It looks okay. It looks decent. So I take a flatter brush, and then I take the color, and then I bring it underneath my eyes, so that we can create definition there too as well. Okay, I think that is decent. And then I'm gonna put some more eyeshadow on my lid, because I feel like it's kind of like a little bit naked on top. So I'm gonna put like a shimmery shade in the corner of my eye. Okay, so the other book that I did read, I unfortunately don't have a copy of it. Where I read it was from my library, so I'm sure you guys can find a copy of it, because it's from a very famous author named Sandra Brown. So Sandra Brown has written like a lot of books in her career, but right now I think she's focusing more on romantic suspense, which is like a genre that I like, but I'm not reading as much. But when she did write Western historicals, she wrote this one called Sunset Embrace, and I really enjoyed it. So this one reminded me a lot like Annie's Song by Katherine Anderson. Essentially, it follows our heroine, who was unfortunately sexually abused by her stepfather, and then I think her stepbrother as well, and she fell pregnant from it, and she was running away from her family that was abusing her after her mom died, and she gave birth to a stillborn child. But for her body, like her body doesn't know that her baby died, so her body still produces milk. And then she comes in handy when she meets our hero, who unfortunately just had an infant son, and his wife just died from pregnancy and from like giving birth to the son. So he has this like misconception of her and thinks that she is like a hillbilly, she is uneducated, she is a prostitute, and she gave birth to a bastard son, and she is nothing but this like really bad image that he has in his head. But he knows that if he does not feed his baby will die, and he can't let that happen, because this is like the last thing that is tying to him and his late wife. So they have this arrangement where she feeds his baby, and then that's it. He, this entire time, is fighting his attraction for her, because he knows that she is so beautiful, but he's holding himself back because he thinks that she's this like nefarious character and that she is just sinful. And meanwhile, she is actually just like a victim of abuse, but she doesn't want to explain herself to him. So they kind of have this like very hard relationship where they're always battling each other, but they're being forced in like close proximity situations because they share the same cabin and they share the same like train like slot. Like it's a wagon too as well. So they are forced to act like a family in some parts. And then like people start criticizing her being like unwed and sleeping with a guy, and then he feels that his reputation is being tarnished because of the forced close proximity. And it's there where he realizes like what kind of person she truly is, and he falls in love with her, and it's just so good. Like, I loved it. I think I read it in like 2 days, and I would have read it obviously faster if I had an audiobook, but I didn't. But I'm so impressed with myself that I continued reading it during work days. Like, usually I don't read that much during the work week because I'm like very busy at work. But like this one, I just had to keep reading it right before I went to bed. It's a book that I highly recommended to my friends. Hopefully you guys will pick it up. I gave this one around like a 4.5 out of 5 stars because once again, our hero was just like a little too mean for me. I felt like he was like, he needed to do a little bit more groveling towards the end. Okay, so what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna do my eyeliner off camera, but I just used like a black eyeliner first to go around my lids, and then I use a liquid eyeliner to do my wingtip. It was just like one high school day where I learned how to do wing eyeliner, and I just never looked back, and now I feel like my eye look is never complete unless I have eyeliner. So it's sad. Okay, so I'm back with my eyeliner that's done. It's like very, very wet right now. But basically, I'm going on vacation by the time this video is uploaded, and I'm excited. I'm going to Quebec City, which is like the city in Quebec, which is the French province in Canada, and I get to pretend that I'm in France for a week because everybody's speaking a language that I don't know how to speak, and I just love hearing people speak French, but I'm pretty sure they don't like hearing me speak English in Quebec City. Okay, so the next book that I did read is the book 2 in the same series from Sandra Brown, and it's called Another Dawn. The heroine in this book is actually the daughter of the first couple in Sunset Embrace. So this girl, our heroine, gets stood up at her own wedding because her fiance is an a-hole. Her fiance got someone else pregnant, and the wedding fell through, and she's left heartbroken because, you know, the person that she loved cheated on her with another person and got that girl pregnant. So she wants to be independent. She wants to start a ranch herself. And her father is like, I do not trust you to do this by yourself because you need somebody to help you. It's a lot of work to take care of a whole ranch. So he asks his like best friend to watch over his daughter. And there's like an age gap difference. Like I think like maybe like probably like 10, 13 years or something like that. And he is our hero, and he's a drifter. He does not stay from town to town. He doesn't want to build relationships with anybody in his life because of something tragic that happened in the past that he blames himself for. And our heroine is independent. She doesn't want to fall in love anymore. So you think that like, you know, they can be working side by side with each other and it's okay. But unfortunately, they're living in the same house. It's forced close proximity once again. They get to know each other. They get comfortable with each other, and they start pushing the boundaries a lot. And she is often constantly like trying to tell him that like she is a fully grown adult. She can make her own decisions in life. But he's like, yeah, like, you know, like your dad is my best friend, you're his daughter, like I don't want to ruin the friendship, your father will kill me, and like basically giving all these like reasons. But she is like often fed up with it, and then other men in the town recognize her for who she is and for her beauty, so they always like try to get near her, and then he's just like alpha protective male, and then it obviously is like a forbidden relationship because of the age gap difference, and because like the father doesn't think that the best friend may be worthy of the daughter because of his like dark murky past, which isn't fair. But I really liked it too as well. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars because it just wasn't as good as the first one, but it was still like a book that I read very quickly and I really enjoyed. And I want to read more Sandra bound Western romances because of these 2 books. So the next step I'm going to do, and I think this is going to be like my second last step before I put on lip gloss to complete the look, but I'm going to use this Makeup Forever mascara that I bought from the Sephora sale once again. This one is called the Professional, and it has like a step 1 and step 2. Step 1 is a lift and step 2 is a volume. What I want to do is I want to learn how to properly like apply mascara so that my eyelashes stand out. But honestly, I feel like sometimes it's just like my eyelashes are just the Asian eyelashes that are sticking out straight all the time. So I need to curl my eyelashes first. And yes, I know, you're supposed to curl your eyelashes before you put on eyeliner because now the eyelash curler will stick to the eyeliner will now stick to the eyelash curler and it's just gonna mess up my whole look. So I think I'm just not going to curl my eyelashes because I feel like in videos you can't really see anyways. So I'm just gonna go ahead and apply some mascara on, and then we're gonna see like what other book that I have to tell you next. But this is like the wand, so it's very thin for the lifting one, and then the volume one is thicker. I feel like the lifting one does give like a nice lift even without curling my eyelashes, so I really appreciate it. And the thinner brush allows you to kind of like define the eyelashes so that they're not clumped together. Okay, so step 1 is complete. Can you even tell the difference? Maybe. I feel like if I don't put on mascara, my eyes don't look as awake. And then I'm gonna go in with step 2, which is the volumizing one, which gives like a thicker one, like a thicker add-in. So I stopped using waterproof mascara because it takes a really long time for me to wash it off, even with like makeup remover. And so I've been buying more high-end mascara that's long-lasting because I talked to like a Sephora sales associate and basically the long-lasting ones don't smudge as much. So, and they're easier to wash. Like you just need like warm water and maybe like some makeup remover oil and then it washes it all off anyways. So I've been testing this mascara for like 2 days now and I feel like long lasting wise is like okay. I feel like I do get some smudges underneath my eyes, so I'm gonna need to test it out more. But the other mascara that I've been using recently in the past too is this Lancome one that I also bought. It was pretty pricey. It was like probably like $30 something or $40 something, and this one is known to be like lasting for like 8 hours. I don't even know what's called, like Le 8 Hypnosis or whatever. And then the one thing that sold me on this was the fact that this is like long-lasting mascara that you can wash off with hot water. But the thing about this mascara is that I felt like it dried really fast. I feel like I'm not getting enough product in the bottle, so I don't know if I got like an old bottle or something, but I would definitely buy this again as long as I get a full bottle's worth. But maybe I could just warm it up with like warm water and then the mascara will kind of get on the brush. So I think that's all like the books that I have read that were in from like the 1980s. I thought I read a little bit more, but then when I was looking at the books that I recently read, they were all like in the 2000s. So I don't want to include those in the video because I'm going to talk about my other historical romances that I read recently that are a little bit older but not in the 1980s. So I think I'm going to wrap up this video by putting on my lip product. So I recently bought a Charlotte Tilbury like lipstick, and they're like the mini samplers, which is like fine. It's like $40 for 3 mini samplers, and I thought that like I would like them a lot more, but I just realized that all lipsticks are kind of like the same and that you can just go ahead and just use like cheap drugstore lipsticks and they'll all look the same. So next time I don't think I'm ever going to spend that much money on lipstick ever again. So right now I'm using this Korean brand called Peri Para, and it's the Airy Ink Velvet, and it's just like a matte neutral color. And then I'm just gonna put on my lips so that it looks like I have some color. But that's it. That's the look for all my videos that you'll see going forward. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and found some vintage romance authors to add to your TBR. I'm definitely going to read more Sandra Brown. But I'll see you guys again next time in a new video. Bye.